everyone, welcome back to another collective moon update. We are having a full moon in Leo today. I did go back and check out my new moon in Leo reading that I did about 6 months ago. It was over the summer and I found it very interesting. I did go over what the Leonine energy represents for me. And I just wanted to recap a little bit on the messages that came out then, since that was a new moon and we are having the full moon now. This could be part of a bigger cycle, like something that was starting then, something that we were planting seeds for then, could be coming to completion now. So I always like to go back and just see if we can make any connections. So if you guys would like to go do that to see if some of those themes came up for you or are still present in some way, maybe wrapping up, I think it could potentially be of value to you, if you feel called. But as you guys know, the Leo energy is represented by the sun. And the sun has everything to do with being very present and stable and dependable, like you can always count on there being a daytime every single day. So it's an energy that you can always count on, that is always going to be there. It's a masculine energy, a very healthy masculine energy is the way that I perceive it. So it can represent like father energy or like a father figure role, someone that's a good role model. Again, someone that's like a constant in your life, that's going to give you good advice. And when you think about the sun in contrast to the sun is like right there, out in the open, in your face, bright. So for me, this represents, the sun energy being very truthful, like very honest, very transparent, very direct, very forward. Like there's clarity, there's truth wherever the light shines, right? Where the moon is kind of like, sometimes you can see the moon, sometimes you can't. The moon is always going through different phases. The moon is it's more mysterious. It's not so upfront. It's more like behind the scenes. It's more emotional, complex, where I feel like the sun is just like very there, shining bright. So that's why it represents to me like truth and clarity, like I said, being a good person, being very warm, giving good advice, being very protective, being very honorable, like very noble. The Leo energy is known for being very generous, very giving. So when I think about the sun, that's something else I think of, like it's very giving. It's like all giving, But yeah, with it representing this masculine energy, which is an energy that we all have, it's that doing energy, the actions that we take, what we put forth, how it is that we live our life. What's the engine inside us that drives us? What are we made of? Like what is the heart made of? Leo energy has everything to do with heart energy, with valor, with courage, with bravery. And this yang energy, this masculine energy, it is said to be one of the hardest energies to cultivate because at some point it does require you to have to go against the grain, to pull away because you're being so truthful to your heart, or because you're doing what's correct, what's right, because you're being protective, because there's a need to be honest, even if that means it's not what's cool, or it's not going to get you in like with the in crowd, or you're going to be like misunderstood in some way. So you might like be isolated. That yang energy, that masculine energy doesn't care. It pulls away, it goes against the grain. It sacrifices those things for what is right. It serves something higher than just themselves, which does take a lot of courage and a lot of bravery. And so at some point, I feel like all of us are faced, with this decision, like with needing to do that in some way, like rip away from something, maybe something that's comfortable or something that's normalized, that's acceptable, or that's expected. And it's like we have to be able to go our own way, to choose for ourselves, to use our own free will, to do what is right and proper and correct, even if it is like self-sacrificial in some way. Again, it's like you're doing it because you're working for something higher, you're serving something higher than just yourself, than just your own ego. Which when we're talking about Leo could also be something that comes up, right? Like the more negative side of the Leo energy could be like being very egoic and like wanting all of the attention for yourself and having a problem if that's not the case. Or really needing that validation, like really needing to be admired and praised. And like if you don't get that, it's like an issue, it's a problem. It's like you can't function or something. Or there could be like insecurities there. that pop up from like not getting that external validation. In my last video, in my new moon in Leo update, a lot came out about like exalting and uplifting the unseen, the unheard, those people that are marginalized or that don't have a strong voice or don't have a lot of representation. It's also about like uplifting people and using that attention that, you know, you have in some way, or what power you have in some way, to exalt and uplift the people that need it, or to support, to help the people that need it, that could use it. You know, it's being very protective, very honorable and noble, you know, and doing what's right because it's what's just, it's what's fair. Like we all deserve like an equal platform, you know, like equal footing. We all deserve to be heard and to have a voice and to have a say and to be represented, to feel safe, you know, to feel safe. And like, you know, we have rights. So this could definitely have something to do with, you know, the times that we're in, with what we're going through on a worldly level collectively. Or it could just have to do, you know, with something completely different, which is in some way that you have power or you have access to something and you can help in whatever way that may be. So these are some of the things I think about when I think about Leo. With this full moon in Leo, these are some themes that could potentially be coming up. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on pulling the spread. You guys can take this moment to close your eyes, take a couple of deep in and out breaths, center your energy, invite stillness so that you can open yourself up to receive the messages that are meant for you to receive here today. So take your time doing that while I go ahead and pull out the spread. Okay, so I've gone ahead and pulled the oracle cards for the spread. So let's take a look what we have here. So what I'm seeing here with these cards, it has to do with declaring yourself in some way, with clearly, you know, choosing something for yourself. It seems like going down a certain path, whether this is like career path or just like a worldview that you want to adapt, or beliefs that you want to like abide by, or traditions that you want to honor. It's just the way that you put yourself forward, how you live your life, how you represent yourself, you know what I mean? I feel like you're being called to do something that is risky. Like for whatever reason in your life, it's considered a risk to do whatever this is. But I feel like you are feeling like whatever it is that you're doing right now, you're not feeling like it's truthful to you, or you're feeling like it's a misalignment, or, you know, you're just feeling unfulfilled in some way or inauthentic. But I think what you're having like trouble with here is thinking that you taking this direction, this different direction, going your own way, like what we talked about, like needing to go against the grain in some way, needing to go down like the path less traveled, or like down uncharted territory where it's like no one's gonna get it, no one's gonna understand but you know, because it's like you're following your own heart and you're doing something that you feel like is right for you in some way. And so I think that you're having trouble like holding, like saying like, okay, well, if I declare myself and I go down this road or like down this path, if I choose this for myself, like openly, if I take this risk, then it means that like you're going against something else or something, or like you're putting down something else, or you're going against it, like you're going to be in opposition. Like you going this other way says something about like what you're leaving behind. And not necessarily, you know, like spirit is saying that you're not necessarily saying that anything was wrong with whatever it is that you're doing now. Like it's not like you're like putting down these people that chose this for themselves and saying like there's something wrong with you. It's not like you're saying that there's something inherently wrong with like this path in and of itself, you know? It's wrong. You're not saying that, you're just saying like it's wrong for me. You can understand that something could be totally right for somebody. They could be on track, on path, living in their truth, but maybe that's just not your experience. Like that's just not what it is for you. It's not that it's wrong, it's just that it's wrong for you. You know, it's not that like you're saying like that they're wrong and you're right, or your path is the right way. Like there is no right and wrong is what I'm saying. Like there's only right and wrong in the sense of like what's wrong for me can be right for you. It can be valid for you. It can be the truth for you. And me saying that it's not the truth for me, that it's not my path, that I don't feel good here, it's not like invalidating you. It's not meant to invalidate you in any way. I'm just stating, you know, my experience, my perspective, and that this just isn't for me. But it doesn't mean that I'm like against it. It's just not for me. So I think there's something about that that you have to like come to terms with, you know? Because I feel like you might think that you like leaving something or saying no to something means that you're like going against it, or again, like you're in opposition, like you don't believe in it, like you think it's wrong. And that's not necessarily true. You don't want to invalidate like anyone or anything. It's just you want to honor yourself and like honor your heart and your truth. And so like both things can be good and true and valid, but just not for everyone. You know what I mean? For certain people, it's great, and for other people, it's not. It's a misalignment. So I think there's something here that you're recognizing is a misalignment for you, but you're afraid to like go against them or it or something because you think that like you moving away from it is like the message is sending. It's like, I'm at odds with you. But that doesn't necessarily have to be the case, especially if you like communicate it. If you communicate that, you know, and you're very clear with your communication that it's like, I'm not at odds with you. I think it's valid. As long as you feel good and you feel balanced here, keep going. You know, it's just I don't feel those things here. This is just not what's true for me. And it's like just staying true to what you do feel called to do, or like what you do feel called to move towards. It's being able to stay true to that, you know, to represent yourself in a way that is authentic and in a way that like you're embracing yourself. You're not betraying yourself. You're not living a lie or something to like fit in or because you're afraid to be in opposition. It's like, no, I'm not in opposition. This just isn't for me, you know, simple as that. We can both be valid in our truth. Just because that's your truth and it's not my truth doesn't mean that your truth isn't a truth. I can honor that that's your truth. I can hold that. And I can also hold that my truth is different and that both of these truths are valid. I'm not trying to invalidate one over the other. Like just because I say this is my truth doesn't mean that I'm trying to like say that this truth is invalid. We can both exist. We can both be here. We can both take up space. There's room for both of our truths, you know? That's your truth. Cool. This is my truth, you know? And just like embracing that. I feel like I'm not being too repetitive or redundant. I just want to make sure I'm like getting the message across. I'm just saying because I do see like a struggle here and like a need to stand your ground and like declare yourself and defend your heart and your truth and what you believe in, and like to really embrace it. And who cares if you're going against the grain? That's like you really cultivating that masculine energy, which this full moon really like hits on, you know what I mean? So a lot of us, we could be going through this right now, like we're cultivating our masculine energy, and this is not an easy energy to cultivate because you do have to be courageous. And I feel like there's something that it's been offline for so long, you know, like it's like something that exists inside of you that you feel like connected to, that you're feeling like pulled towards and called to, but it's been so buried. It's just what it looks like here for me. So yeah, lots of messages about change, taking risk, standing your ground, knowing that, you know, you're not for everyone. That's okay. Maybe some people are going to turn away from you. Maybe some people aren't going to want to like mess with you or something like that. And it's like, oh, well, that's fine. You know what I mean? It's going your way anyway. Staying true to yourself, you know, staying true to something higher, to your heart. And knowing that like if you don't have all of the answers right now, that's okay. Like It just feels like it's so out of reach or so out of touch because you've been so disconnected from it for so long. But, you know, Spirit is letting you know, like, muscle memory is what I'm hearing. Like, you've done this before. It's not going to be as hard as you think, maybe. Like, you might have already like an intuition or something that you like that's cultivated with whatever way you want to go. But you just have to like wake it up or like unearth it or like let it rise up. And once you make contact with it, I feel like, you know, you'll be able to navigate it easy. But it is going to require you to take some kind of a risk at first for you to even like invite it back in the first place. You know what I mean? So let's see what the tarot has to say. Two times the card has flipped and then it just goes back in. The first time I think it was the King of Pentacles, and this time I think it was the Hierophant. They like flipped, but they didn't come out. It's like peekaboo. Like it just wanted me to see it. Let's see. Okay. So yeah, like I was saying, there is like a need for you to be like tolerant or open, you know, like open to other people's experience, to other people's truths and perspectives, and like, you know, understanding that we live in a world that's very like multifaceted. You know, there isn't just one right way. And if anyone is ever telling you that there's one right way, that's a red flag. You know, that person is looking for dominance, looking for control, because there isn't just one right way. Okay? So it's like having compassion and like being kind and like you know, like being able to extend an olive branch to someone that thinks differently from you, or that, you know, has a different truth or went down like a different path in life, you know? We never know like what part of the journey our souls are on, and like what that person is working through, what their soul is working through. We just have to trust, like, okay, that person is going through whatever they have to go through. I respect that. I'm going to focus on myself, you know, on my own soul growth. And what they're doing probably is exactly what they need to be doing. It's probably exactly where they need to be for whatever their soul wants or needs to develop, you know? And again, it's bringing up needing to walk away from something. Like if you're just feeling like restless and you're feeling like something is just clashing inside of you and you're just like so not where you're supposed to be. Like it just doesn't reflect you or what you believe in, or you feel yourself like longing for something else, like longing for home, like you don't feel at home. It is asking you to walk away from whatever you're in that doesn't feel like home, that feels like so like uncomfortable, you know? And what I was talking to you about of like, you know, that your soul has memory of this, like you've done this before, you just have to tap into it. Once you tap into it, once you make that connection, it's gonna like flow out of you. You're gonna have like a natural affinity to it, or like a natural like intuition about it, where things are going to like progress because it's something that's been cultivated. Like your soul has cultivated whatever this is. I feel like the way it might come through is like through some kind of destructive or like big, explosive, chaotic kind of an energy. It's like something has to erupt or something. Something has to explode for you to like tap it, like crack it, because it's something that's so buried. So it's something that's been lost. So that's an interesting message coming through here. But it's saying that you are going to find success and be victorious the second that you commit to yourself, the second that you embrace your authenticity, accept that not everyone is meant to like you. Not everyone is meant to like vibe with you or go down the path with you. And once you're okay with that, like once you're not afraid of being alone or being isolated in some way, of like going your own way, once the only person you're prioritizing and putting above anything else is yourself and your truth and your own heart, you're gonna find a lot of success. You're gonna find a lot of victory. But I feel like this is something that is difficult for you, because I am seeing that like you're feeling called to do something, but like you're very indecisive. Like you're not really being very decisive about it. You're not jumping in, like maybe you're not ready to take the risk, or you're afraid. you're afraid of like the blow up or something, like the chaos that may ensue or the fighting. But maybe they're saying like the way to combat it is just by being kind, by being like, I'm not trying to go against you, I'm not trying to invalidate you. I think that this is something that could work, that could be real, that could be beneficial. It's just not for me. You know what I mean? Like maybe if you meet that fiery, like explosive argumentative kind of energy with just like compassion and love and openness and like a willingness to see things from their perspective, it'll make it a smoother transition. And if it doesn't, it's like doing it anyway, taking the risk anyway. And like, even if you don't know what it's gonna look like, or you don't have all the steps mapped out, or you're like, again, like it's uncharted territory, it's like you have to be brave and courageous, and you just have to go that way because you're being called, to just trust that you'll be led and that God has your back, you know, that things will open up for you. You're not just gonna like be left hanging, but you do have to trust to move in this direction. Like you do have to stand your ground and like step into some kind of unknown here, something that can be scary. But again, that's why we have to be brave, right? Being brave means doing something even though it's scary. It's like doing it anyway. So you are also being encouraged to have strong boundaries here, to like identify your non-negotiables and know that that's not on the table to be discussed or to be compromised. Your heart is not to be compromised. Who you truly are, or what your truth is, or what your purpose is, your path, you have to fully stay true to that. You know what I mean? And if there's anything that's going against that, that just means it's incompatible. It's not in alignment with you, and you're meant to go away from it, okay? So I feel like something about this could be like devastating, could be heartbreaking to you or someone else. I'm pulling a clarifier card because we did get the sexual wisdom card. So I just want to see like what is this exactly referring to, because I'm not really seeing how it fits here. Unless this has to do with like your sexuality in some way. Something that you do sexually, or your sexual orientation, or who you engage with sexually, or like something, you know, that you're engaging with now, maybe it doesn't feel right. So maybe if you are like polyamorous, like maybe that's no longer working, or maybe if you're monogamous, that's no longer working, or maybe you don't want to engage sexually in the way that you've been engaging, or you want to move away from someone that you've been engaging with in that way. Or it could be that you need to like connect to your sexuality, like connect, like bring that back online if like you're someone that was taught that like sex is taboo, and like you never really fully embrace that side of yourself. So yeah, that can go a number of different ways. But yeah, I'm seeing like, yeah, like take ownership of your sexuality, ask for what you want. Like if you feel like you're always like just wanting to please other people, or it's something that's very performative for you, it's like start exploring like what you truly like and what do you truly want, and start voicing that, you know what I mean? Or whatever it is that like, you know, you want to explore or you want to move towards, it's like don't be afraid to make it happen for yourself. You know what I mean? Like you're the one in charge, no one else. Don't feel like someone else is in control over you, or someone else makes like the decisions for you, or that you're like subordinate in some way, or like inferior, or that you're just the one that pleases, not the one that gets pleased. I don't know. You have to know like that you have autonomy, and you have a right to like what you like, you know, or gravitate towards what you gravitate towards. Be what you are, be who you are, explore that part of yourself, you know? Work with your shadow, I feel, because I feel like sometimes people like have kinks and stuff, and that has to do with like your psychology and like what exists in the shadow. And so like if you bring that up and you work with it and you integrate it, instead of being something that is happening subconsciously, or maybe in a way that could potentially be harmful, it's like you're online and you're aware and you're exploring certain things. And it can just be something very healthy for you psychologically, sexually, you know, like attaining sexual wisdom, getting to know yourself more, so that you can like express these energies in a way that's very like your own, and truthful to you. You're in control, you're in charge. It's like, you know, you're engaging because you want to be, because this is what you like. or this is like where you feel either protected or where you feel like you're upholding some kind of like structure, order, boundary that feels good for you, that makes sense for you, that you like, okay? Okay, so I think I'm gonna leave that there. I don't want to get too specific since this is a general message, but there is something definitely coming through in regards to that I think you have to contemplate. I don't think you're seeing it super clearly just yet, but I think in time, like, it'll start to make sense and you'll become enlightened about something in that arena, okay? Yeah, something about like your sexuality is like, I feel like your sex life says something about your situation, okay? Something's connected there. So when you can like unravel that, I feel like something's gonna click, something's gonna make sense. I feel like something that can express itself like in your sex life comes out like in your regular everyday life or how you like move. So yeah, that's what I have for today. For this full moon in Leo, I feel like we have a duty, like a sacred duty and a responsibility to be like kind and nurturing and supportive, okay? So if you do find that you're a person that like moves through people, like you just use people and you're not really considerate of them, that's something else that you may want to like reconsider and like creating boundaries for yourself. But okay, I'm like still getting messages, but I do want to wrap this up. So I hope that these messages have served you today. Thank you so much for being here with me today, for sharing your time and your energy. I do personal readings, so if you'd like to dive deeper into your personal situation, I would love to connect with you. I'd love to work with you. I'll leave my email in the description box below so that you can inquire if you're interested. Otherwise, take good care of yourselves, and until next time, bye.